Is it okay, Mathaji? Okay. Yes, Mathaji. Can you hear me? Okay. Yes, Mataji, I'm here on the call. Thank you. Guru and Gauranga. We'll start with Vitrashtra's prayers. Aham Hareta Vapade Kamula Dasanudaso Bhavitasmi Bhuya Manasmareta Supate Gunam Seshyam Na Sarvabhauma Narasadhipatyam Na Yoga Siddhira Purbhavamba Samanjasatva Virahaya Kamshi Ajata iva mataram kaha Sanyam yatavat sarastu bharata Priyam pavyushitam vishana Manoravindakshadrikshate tvam Mamotamasloka janeshu sakyam Samsara chakre brahmata swakarmavi Tvanmaya yatma majadara geheshwa Ashakta chittasya nanata bhuyat. Okay, so let's move on to the Canto 4, Chapter 24. And first, I'd like to summarize what has happened so far, and then we can go to the purport and read the purport of the 54th verse. So, in short, we are seeing that Prachetas, the son of Prachinabari, the son of grandson of Prithu, is receiving the prayers of Lord Shiva. When you look they faithfully sought to execute their instruction of the father. While proceeding to the west, they came across a large reservoir of water from which emerged Lord Shiva, who was accompanied by the musicians glorifying him. Lord Shiva began to address to them. Lord Shiva explained that Krishna's devotees are very dear to Lord Shiva and that they are respectable as the Lord. So the devotees themselves are very, very respectable as the Lord. That's what Shiva explained to the Prachetas. And if you look at the verses 31 through 52, Lord Shiva has shared a special transcendental mantra which glorifies the Supreme Lord. Lord Shiva expresses his desire to see and be enlightened by Lord's exceptionally beautiful forearm form, and he elaborately describes. Lord Shiva explains the purifying effects of meditating and serving on the Lord through Bhakti Yoga. Though difficult to perform, devotional service alone can satisfy the Lord and give protection from the influence of invincible time. Lord Shiva begs for the association of pure devotees who are free from material bewilderment. So this is what has happened so far. And we can go to the 54th verse, 4.24.54. Bhavan bhakti matalabhyo durlabha sarvadehinam swarajyasyapi abhimata ekante natmavid gatihi. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Let's look at the translation. My dear Lord, the King in charge of heavenly kingdom is also desirous of obtaining the ultimate goal of life, devotional service. Similarly, you're the ultimate destination of those who desire to serve the Lord. those who themselves with you, aham brahmasmi. However, it is very difficult for them to attain you, whereas the devotee can very easily attain your lordship. Purport. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. As stated in Brahma Samhita, Vedeshu Durlabam Adurlabam Atma Bhaktau. This indicates that it is very difficult for one to attain the ultimate goal of life, reach the supreme destination, Vaikuntha Loka or Goloka Vrindavana, simply by studying the Vedantic philosophy or Vedic culture. However, the highest perfectional stage can be attained by the devotees very easily. That is the meaning of Vedeshu Durlabam Adurlabam Atma Bhaktau. The same point is confirmed by Lord Jesus. The Lord is very difficult for karma yogis, jnana yogis, and dhyana yogis to attain. Those who are bhakti yogis, however, have no difficulty at all. In the world, Swarajasya, Swar refers to Swargaloka, the heavenly planet. The Swarajya refers to the ruler of the heavenly planet, Indra. Generally, karmis desire elevation to the heavenly planets, but King Indra desires to become the perfect in Bhakti Yoga. Those who identify themselves as Aham Brahmasmi, I am the supreme Brahman, one with the absolute truth, also ultimately desire to attain perfect liberation in the Vaikuntha planets or Goloka Vrindavana. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavanyaschasmi tattvatah tato mam tattvato nyatva vishateta tadan anantaram. One can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead as He is only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of the Supreme Lord by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of Godhead. Thus, if one desires to enter into the spiritual world, he must try to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead by practicing Bhakti Yoga. Simply by practicing Bhakti Yoga, one can understand the Supreme Lord in truth. But without a such understanding, one cannot enter the spiritual kingdom. One may be elevated to the heavenly planets or may realize himself as Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi, but that's not the end of realization. One must realize the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by Bhakti Yoga. Then real perfection of life is attained. Tackle the subject of service. Before that, we will do our prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiriyet. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakayam Chakshurum Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pankum Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tammaham Vante. My humble obeisances is here on the call. Please accept my humble obeisances onto your lotus feet. And please bless me that I am able to deliver something to you. And with the mercy of Guru and Gauranga and you Vaishnavas, I make the best use of the time that is available to me. And uh, may I give some realizations to you, all devotees. Thank you so much. Okay, so now we can actually see what this verse has to see. So my plan is that I plan to tackle only one area, which is the area of devotional service and what devotional service means in Chaitanya Saritamrita, and then what does devotional service mean in Bhagavad Gita, and then maybe talk about what devotional service means in Bhagavatam also. Again, the whole book, if you see, it's all about devotional service, so it is difficult to get across everything, but I can just put some parts of what is being told in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavad Gita, and Bhagavatam. So my first exercise would be to talk about what devotional service is. What is the definition of devotional service? Again, by Rupa Goswamis from Anukulyena Krishnanu Shilanam Bhaktiruttama, Madhya Leela 19.167. Pure devotional service is activity intended to please Krishna without ulterior motives and not covered by philosophical or fruitive pursuits. So we'll first talk about devotional service from Chaitanya Charitamrita. In one of the lectures, Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj actually instructed everyone to memorize this one. Bhagavata Shravana Mathura Vasa Srimati. Mathaji, I'm getting an error message. The recording has reached the limit. Is that okay? Okay. Sadhu Sangha Nama Kirtana Bhagavata Shravana Mathura Vasa Sri Mutira Shrataya Shevana. Madhya Lila 22.128. One should associate with devotees, chant the holy name of the Lord, hear Srimad Bhagavatam, recite at Mathura, and worship the deity with faith and remuneration. So if you look at this verse, this is a very powerful verse from Madhya Lila, and Mahaprabhu describes the process of devotional service to Sanatan Goswami. In the beginning, he describes the truth about living of mental speculation and mystic yoga. So, what he says is, in all circumstances, living entity is recommended to accept the path of devotional service as personally explained by Mahaprabhu. The speculative method of so called jnanis is considered a waste of time and is proved in this chapter. The intelligent person should abandon the process of karma kanda, jnana kanda, and mystic yoga. If they are going to pursue that, it's going to be a waste of time, and at the end of their life, they wouldn't have accomplished much. So it's not worth experimenting. There are 64 listed items in regulative devotional service, and out of these 64, the last five are considered very, very important. And first one is one should associate with devotees. Second one is chant the holy names of the Lord. Third one is hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Fourth one is recite at Mathura. And then the fifth one is worship the deity with faith and veneration. If you look at Madhya Lila 22.129, it talks about saying these five limbs of devotional service are the best of all. Even a slight performance of these five awakens the love for Krishna. And if you move on, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continues to glorify these five limbs of devotional service. So this is going to be citations from Madhya Lila 22.130 to 135. What is told? With a love and full faith, one should worship the lotus feet of pure devotees. One should associate with the devotees who are more advanced than oneself and one who is endowed with a similar type of affection for the Lord. One should congregationally chant the holy name of the Lord and reside in Vrindavana. The next one is the power of these five principles is very wonderful and difficult to understand. Even without faith in them, if a person who is offenseless can awaken his dormant love of Krishna simply by a little connection with them, they can surely do so. When one is firmly fixed in devotional service, whether he executes one or many processes of this devotional service, the waves of Godhead will awaken. The last one says there are many devotees like Maharaj Ambrisha executed all the nine items and they also got ultimate success. So, how much glorification to devotional service? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in each and every verse, he says that even if you do one of them, that's going to be enough. So that this gives us a lot of confidence that the dormant love of Krishna consciousness can awaken in us. And love of Godhead, I know, is very difficult to be attained, but nevertheless, we have to give it a shot and keep trying, keep on trying till we achieve the perfectionist age. So, if you look at this, what is more amazing is if we analyze how Srila Prabhupada has made a structure of ISKCON based on the five limbs of devotional service. And in one of the lectures, uh, His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj, he said that Prabhupada has actually designed the ISKCON system in such a way that anyone who is engaged in ISKCON, the first aspect, as you can see, is Sadhu Sangha. Anyone who is in ISKCON is getting the association of sadhus. Similarly, anyone who is in ISKCON must attend Bhagavatam class or at least read for some time every day. So, this is how one is reading the scriptures. And anyone who worships the deity, um, mm, although not all of us has a chance to go and worship the deity in the temple, but indirectly we do our Mangalarti and morning program at our home, and this will automatically take care of the third one. Then comes residing in the temple. Therefore, those who are living in the temple or those whose consciousness is in the temple are actually residing in Mathura. In this way, Prabhupada has given us a simple process for Krishna consciousness. And now I realize, okay, why so many devotees always stress that we have to remain in ISKCON or be in the association of devotees and serve the local temple. Again, for us, we don't have a local temple. For people like me who don't have a local temple in their location, it's Bhakti Sangha that is equal to the temple. Then do our sadhana bhakti. We will surely make progress in our spiritual life. So that is what I confer. So Prabhupada has made it simple for us, and all we need to do is just be part of the association, be part of Sadhu Sangha, or be part of your local temple, do your sadhana bhakti, and have your consciousness always tuned to Krishna, and everything will automatically flow in itself. Now, it is my duty to offer humble obeisances to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Vande Shri Chaitanya Devam Tam Karunavaram Kalavapi Ati Guhyayam Bhaktirena Prakashita. So it is said, I offer my humble obeisances, respectful obeisances on to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is the ocean of transcendental mercy. And although the subject matter of Bhakti Yoga is very confidential, he is nonetheless manifested it so nicely, even in this age of Kali, age of quarrel. All glories to five limbs of devotional service. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Again, that quotation was from Madhya Leela 22.1. So this was about what devotional service, what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. I mean, what is the feeling of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on devotional service in Chaitanya Charitamrita. There is also one other example. I think Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There was an occasion where Raghunath Das Goswami meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and I think Chaitanya Mahaprabhu welcomed Raghunath Das Goswami, but he did not welcome Ramanand Das, and that was because of his attitude. His attitude was more focused on merging with Rama. He used to always recite Ramanam, but his attitude was more to a point where he wanted to merge with the effulgence of Ram, and he did not like that attitude. He condemned that attitude, and when he came to visit Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was not so pleased to welcoming him as he did with Raghunath Das Goswami. This also clearly shows that devotional service or bhakti yoga is the way to go, and people should not waste their time on other marks that we have, which are very cumbersome. At the same time, they don't yield the result that we would need. Moving on, so we'll talk a little bit about what Bhagavad Gita has to offer, and I'll specifically go through this verse 15.5. Are you all able to hear me so far? So far, so good? Okay, good. निर्माणमोहाजितसङ्गदोषाद्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्तकामा द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता शुकदुःखसंज्ञैर्गच्छन्त्यमूढा पदम् अव्ययम् तत्. So this is 15.5 from Bhagavad Gita. Translation, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are free from the dualities of happiness and distress, who are unbewildered, know how to surrender on to Supreme Person, attain to the eternal kingdom. So this is the translation. I'm not going to. I can talk about the purport, and then I will move on to the understanding of the purport. The surrendering process is described here very nicely. The first qualification is that one should not be deluded by pride, because the conditional soul is puffed up, thinking himself the Lord of material nature. It is very difficult for him to surrender on to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should know by the cultivation of real knowledge that when one is free from delusion caused by pride, he can begin the process of surrender. For one who is always expecting some honor in this material world, it is not possible to surrender to the Supreme Person. Pride and delusion, for although one comes here, stays for a brief time, and then goes away, he has the foolish notion that he is the Lord of the world. He thus makes things complicated, and he's always in trouble. The whole world moves under this impression. People are remembering the land, this earth belonged to the human society, and they divided the land under the false impression that they are the proprietors. One has to get out of this false notion that human society is the proprietor of the world. When one is freed from such false notion, he becomes free from all false association caused by familial, social, and national affections. The 40 associations bind one to this material world. After this stage, one has to develop spiritual knowledge. One has to cultivate the knowledge of what is actually his own and what is actually not his own. And with this understanding of things they are, he becomes free from all dual conceptions such as happiness and distress, pain and pleasure. He becomes full in knowledge. Then it is possible for him to surrender on to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Um, this is the purport for this translation, 15.5. So I'm going to share some realizations of various senior sannyasi disciples. And this one is just going to be, I'm like a parrot, I'm going to repeat what they have told. Because all this is a philosophical concept, and I want to make sure I get it from the right source, and I share it with you. So as you can see, everybody is dependent on Krishna, and Krishna is independent. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has given us the important concept, important conception, and he has told that Krishna is actually not independent. In the sense, he is dependent on devotion, and he falls flat for the pure devotees. And he gives himself to the pure devotees who love him so much. Where is this possible? How can we understand this concept? It is so difficult. I mean, God is always independent, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has revealed this confidential information to us to make us understand that he is capable of surrendering to a devotee who fully surrenders to him. This when I heard this concept, this was something that I did not know for years. And I regretted why God did not tell me about this concept. And I really felt that this should, had I known this, I would not have wasted my life thus far, right? And that made me to think. And after that, slowly my interest started to develop on the subject and science of understanding the science of Krishna consciousness. I'm totally indebted to the whole Bhakti Sangha Association for helping me progress, understand the science of Krishna consciousness. And and even though I may not have realized everything, I certainly owe and be indebted to the group forever. With that, we'll move on to this and try to understand part by part as to what this verse means for us. Okay, the first one is freedom from false prestige, and I also wanted to include lust in it. For this, if you see Gurudev Vidyabhushan's commentary on humility is of three kinds. The first is kapadanya, superficial humility. That is, externally you are humble. Krishna doesn't like that. That is superficial humility. Bhautik danya, that is the second category. Here, the humility of people on the materialistic platform, and again, not the spiritual platform. So, this is somewhere in the middle, but Krishna doesn't like this also. The third one, Vatsavik humility, which is what the real humility is. It is further divided into external and internal. External humility is the one that we would show, paying obeisances, being respectful to the others, being respectful to the devotee friends. Externally, you are showing everything possible in terms of humility and expressing it externally. The second one is the internal humility. And Vatsavik humility itself, we see two categories. One is external, and other is internal. Internal is, again, we are considering an example here. The servant is eating pastries. Again, he's in your house. He's using all the necessary ingredients to make a pastry, then eats a pastry. Again, he's also watching the TV. The real servant is, I mean, how do we expect our real servant? The real servant should be responsible when our servant does these things in our house. I mean, again, in America, there is no privilege of, I mean, maid don't do this, but I'm saying in India, there is chance of maid to perform such activities. And Baladev Buddhyabhushan comments that, as I told you, real servant will not actually use the resources of the master. So Baladev Vidyabhushan helps us to understand the definition of humility by saying that humility, the real humility, means to leave sense gratification. Understanding I am the servant of Lord Krishna and he is the proprietor. That is what real humility is. We have to understand and make it part of our life and implement it and act upon it. Just not say that we are the servant. Of course, we know that we are the servant of the servant of the servant, but when it comes to actual reality, are we reflecting those is something we have to keep a check on. And he also defines humility as leaving sense gratification. Why so? Because even when you look at Prabhupada's lectures, Prabhupada talks about how advancement in devotion. How is that advancement measured? Advancement is devotion is measured by how much we actually detach ourselves from the material world. And less the attachment, more the bliss or happiness. Because again, when you say bliss and happiness, they could be relative and they could be confusing. We cannot actually measure it. It could be different for you and it could be different for me. And that will not be a good measure for us to actually measure if we are really advancing or not. And that's why Baladev Vidyabhushan here has way the real meaning of humility is to leave sense gratification. Moving on, freedom from lust. So the first one is humility. We talked about the three quad categories of humility. Kapatanya, which is superficial humility. Externally, you're humble. Internally, there is a motive. Second is bhautik danya. That is the humility that is coming from the material platform, like formal thank yous, formal how are you, how are you doing, all this is coming from the material platform and not the spiritual platform. The third is Vatsavik, which is further divided into external and internal. External is whatever we do externally, showing our respects, showing our dandavats, showing our internal humility is the real humility where we act gratification. And the senses are always working for Krishna, like how in the case with Ambrish Maharaj. And we also saw the example of a servant where the servant was using the resources of the master. And our mentality should be such that we always think we are the servant of Lord Krishna, servant of Lord Krishna, and that he is the proprietor or he is the supreme Lord. That should be our that is what our thinking should be. And we also saw that advancement in devotion is measured by how detached we are to this material world. Less the attachment, more the devotion. So we'll move on to freedom from lust. Vinivritta kama means desire to enjoy. Gross form of enjoyment is lust. Gross form to enjoy desire is lust. Again, if you look at the translation, what scripture actually says karma is desire. What scripture talks about? There is a specific mention that the karma translates to desire, and this is coming from Kama Sutra. Uh, Next is freedom from illusion. For this, we have to understand what is the illusion of Maya. Everybody knows that Maya means that which is not. Again, when you ask someone what is practical definition of Maya, what does Maya actually mean? I'm not able to understand this point on what that which is not. What is it when it comes to practically defining Maya? It is nothing but misconception or assumption. We assume we are the body and we are not the soul. We assume many other things. We have seen different scriptures that Maya can do anything. Like Haridas Thakur, he was subjected to a very big trial. Bharat Maharaj, he was also. We are always tested by Maya each and every minute, and we have to carefully act upon it. Again, knowledge is necessary for us to understand which is Maya and which is not. We always hear this point in many lectures we've heard. Maya doesn't hold us. We are the ones who are really clinging on to Maya and holding it so strongly, and we don't want to leave the association of Maya. And this happens when we forget Krishna. When we always, when our mind is tuned to the lotus feet of Krishna, this cannot happen. And that is how freedom from illusion takes place. When we understand and have the knowledge to perceive what is Maya and what is Krishna, understand that we are always doing something favorable for Krishna consciousness, and understand when we are not able to favorably serve Krishna, and understand where Krishna, when we don't forget Krishna and we forget, understand the situation where we don't forget Krishna, and when we are in ignorance, we forget Krishna, and that's when Maya catches us. So we have to always keep reminding ourselves to be alert in all situations and act attentively. Next is freedom from false association. Um, I mean, in freedom from illusion, there are also cases where advanced devotees, they come to they become so advanced, but then there is a chance of fall down. Even sometimes the impersonal concepts come to them, and because of Krishna, it's not very easy when it comes to tackling Maya. But we have to always be alert and do attentive dealings with people, and always remember Krishna in all circumstances, and do actions that are favorable for Krishna consciousness, that are favorable for Krishna consciousness. Okay, moving on. Free from false association. Baldev Vidyabhushan actually says this means freedom from affection of wife and others. Leave the association of karmakandis, devotees, non-devotees. Even Nectar of Instruction points out that we should abandon the association of worldly-minded people. Again, if you look at it more closely, um, these faulty associations in this these faulty associations bind one to this material world. And I heard this from this lecture, and in that it was told, even if we have an attachment to one samosa, we have to come back to this material world. That's how crazy it is. And I think the process of chanting that Mahaprabhu has given us will slowly help us to detach ourselves from the material world and focus on the goal and achieving perfection. Each For each one, it might be a different encounter, but the faith and knowledge forms the basis of all this. If you have strong faith, nobody can bend you, nobody can confuse you, and that happens when you have good knowledge. With good knowledge, you can accomplish anything and everything. The people think the categories, the Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari, and Uttam Adhikari is differentiated by the knowledge they perceive. Kanishta, they don't have faith they don't have so much faith in Krishna, but they know Krishna is the supreme, and so they can be bent very easily. But Madhyama, he is Jnana Nipun. He has knowledge, not so great as Uttamadhikari. But when it comes to Uttamadhikari, he can win over any subject. He has knowledge trees, so that's how much knowledge he has. People are differentiated by the knowledge that they have. And when we have good knowledge about the science of Krishna consciousness, your faith will increase and you will automatically progress. Um, and in freedom from false association, also means leave the association of your own mind. Sometimes mind gives us stupid thoughts. Okay, do this, do that. We have to understand that we are not this mind, and that comes again with knowledge. That's how complicated it is. Uh, when we talk about freedom from all these things, these are not simple things, and these are not easy to do. Okay, let's free ourselves from lust. Let's free ourselves from sense gratifications. It's easy to say, but difficult to implement. Then comes freedom from dualities of happiness and distress. When we are then done with all the desires, slowly what happens is we go above the dualities, that is happiness and sadness, beyond darkness and light, and beyond material conceptions. Um, Again, as we advance, we will slowly realize and have these realizations. Bewilderment. And uh, since the devotee has the knowledge, he understands the mind will always get bewildered no matter what, and hence we should not get disturbed with mind. That's freedom from bewilderment. And then finally, know how to surrender on to the Supreme Person. According to Prabhupada, he becomes full in knowledge. Then it's possible for him to surrender on to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If you look at different people, they have different conceptions, and according to the material modes they're in, there will be a difference in knowledge. There will be contradictions amongst people. And our purpose is to harmonize these contradictions through wisdom and realization. So that's how we surrender. And this is very, very important in the sense people are different and everybody has a different conception to life, for what perfection of life means to them, right? And that all depends on the material modes that they are in. And with the difference in knowledge, there will be contradictions with people. And what we have to do is we should have that wisdom and realization. And realization happens understand, imbibe all the knowledge that is given to you, assimilate that knowledge that you have received, contemplate the knowledge that you have got, meditate on it, and then practically apply that in your life. And when that happens, we will be able to solve all contradictions that comes to us on the path. And that's when the full realization, perfection of life happens. Hope I made some justice to this Bhagavad Gita 15.5. And if we have time, I want to go through some of the verses. I'm not sure. Mataji, are we okay on the time? Okay, okay. Mataji, please tell me when I have to stop. I did not plan this lecture. I did not time this lecture, so kindly let me know when I have to stop. Um, Here, Indu Mataji actually, when I heard the lecture, she pointed out, she described beautifully about the Lord, the appearance of the Lord, and how the Lord looked, and with his Kaustuba jewel, with the Srivatsa mark, and all of that. Thank you, Indu Mataji, for such a wonderful lecture. And then I heard Vinita Mataji's lecture, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji. She was talking about, I thought, let me bring a point on padukas. Padukas means the sandals that the Lord wears. In Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, there is this Acharya called Vedanta Desikar. He is a Sri Vaishnava guru and a philosopher, and one of the most brilliant stalwarts of Sri Vaishnavism in the post Ramanuja period. He was born after Ramanuja. He was a poet, devotee, philosopher, logician, master teacher, and Vedanta Desikar is considered to be an incarnation of divine bell of Venkateshwara of Tirmalai by the Sri Vaishnavites. So I wanted to bring about, Vinita Mataji rightly talked about the lotus feet of the Lord, how important it is to surrender to the lotus feet of the Lord. In Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, even the padukas or the sandal that the Lord wears has so much reverence and awe. And inside the temple, there is something called the Sadarium, and it usually rests at the lotus feet of the Lord. And what the priest does is that he would keep the sarari on your head. So that means it's equal to placing the lotus feet of the Lord on your head. And Vedanta Desikar is one of the poets, as I mentioned in the introduction. He has celebrated the glories of two padakas, that is the sandals, adorning and supporting the lotus feet of the Lord of Sri Rangam. The Sri Ranganatha Padaka Sahasram, that is the Sahasram he composed, which he includes 1008 verses in 32 chapters. And I wanted to bring up there are 1008 slokas, that the 1008 verses which he has composed. And I thought, let's discuss at least about two of them, and what it means, and what is he trying to say from those two verses. So the first sloka is, I've quoted this from 70th sloka. He says, O Paduka, on the occasions of Bharata consoling himself while he returned to Ayodhya without Rama, Valmiki Ramayana uses the word feet while referring to you. Evidently, your greatness is same as Rama's lotus feet without any difference whatsoever. Here, what Swami Desikan is trying to say is that Bharata's consoling words to the sorrowful citizens of Ayodhya at the time of returning back to Nandigram of Chitrakutam, Rama's Padukas on is that The Lord Himself incarnates in the form of acharyas. That's the inner meaning. And Vedanta Desikar, he has composed this 1008 verses in one night. There was the other poet who was competing with him. There was a competition that was going on, and the other poet, he could barely go up to 300 verses. And since he's the bell incarnation of the Lord, there was absolute knowledge and perfection, and still he considered himself lowly. That's how humble he was. Then moving on to 73rd sloka. 73rd sloka says, "O Paduka, you are evidently much kinder to Bharata than Rama's feet were. Because when Bharata returned grief stricken without getting Rama back to Ayodhya, he derived in you what he asked for, and he never suffered later any disappointment." So here Swami Desikan is saying, "O Paduka, you have exceeded the glory of Lord's feet through the quality of affection you shown to those who worship you. It is because of that special quality of affection Bharata was told, and he was able to quell the sorrow arising from the separation of Lord Rama." So the inner meaning here is acharyas are more merciful than the Lord themselves. The Paduka here was more merciful to Bharata, and it totally aggravated and devastated when Rama said he was not going to come with him. But instead, Paduka, which is always in the lotus feet of the Lord, was ready to come with him and accompany him in all circumstances. And Bharata actually placed that on the throne, and thought that was Rama who is ruling. The Paduka itself is the Lord's lotus feet is ruling the world, and I don't have any trouble. That was the mentality. In another sloka, he also says, Vedanta Desikar points out that this Paduka was the one who took Bharata safely to the kingdom. Without this Paduka, Bharata wouldn't have safely reached the kingdom. So that is how much of importance Vedanta Desikar has given, spoken about the glories of Paduka. There is so much that he has said. I mean, he talks about Paduka's praise. There is love play between Paduka and Rama. How Lord strolls with Padukas, potency of dust from the Padukas, how he views the Padukas as the jewelry like emeralds, sapphire, beauty of the Padukas. What about the objects that got reflected from the Padukas? He described in some verses even that lustrous surface of how the objects got reflected from the Padukas and what reverence they have. So much talked about in Ranganatha Paduka Sahasram by Vedanta Desikar. So I just bring this up because we are talking about the glories of the lotus feet of the Lord, and I thought this would be to say that even Padukas are considered as mm, as important as the lotus feet of the Lord. With that, I don't know. I think I can conclude now, or if you want, I can go through Srimad Bhagavatam. But I think we are done 4:15. I mean 5:15 here, EST. Are we good, Mataji? Can I stop here? It's 54 minutes. Okay, Mataji. Of course, Mataji. First, I have to pay my humble obeisances to all to once again. Vancha kalpa tarubhyasya kripa sindhu to bhayecha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Without you, I am nowhere, Mataji, and all the devotees here on the call. I personally want to pay obeisances to all of you because of devotees like you. Mataji, I am not able to hear you. Can you please repeat? Thank you so much, Mataji. All glories to Guru and Gauranga. My only intention was not to waste anybody's time here on the call, and even if I did 1% justification to that, I'm happy. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji. It is really nice to hear from you. From you. Thank you so much. It means a lot, Mataji. You're doing so much seva and so much. I definitely have respect for you, Mataji, for all that you do. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. All glories to Guru and Gauranga Mataji. Thank you so much. Mataji, no, I am lazy, Mataji, but I try my best. And the fact is, Bhakti Sangha is bringing all, come near them or talk, and what I have I to say when so many good speakers are there. And this Bhakti Sangha Japa has a brand name, and I just want to make sure that that brand name is saved. And by I get so much inspiration from you. For you, the communication and what you have to deliver automatically comes, Mataji. So, but I always think I'm nowhere close to anybody here. And thank you, Mataji. At least I got this opportunity, and I'll see what I have to improve on, and slowly by Krishna's mercy, I get the realization also. Right now, I am talking and repeating what has been told. But with the mercy of you devotees, I should also get the realization. Mm, wonderful, wonderful, Mataji. Wonderful, wonderful, nice comment that you brought, Mataji. They told that even the demigods they long for seeing the toenails of the Lord. Then how much important is the lotus feet of the Lord? I mean, when they long to see one toenail, oh, can I see that one nail of Lord? That itself is really great. So how much respect then should we give to the lotus feet of the Lord, right? I mean, it's amazing, Mataji, how each one longs for the toenail. When I heard this in Bhagavatam, I was awestruck. Oh my God. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Mataji. It's Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you. I am grateful to you, Mata. I am grateful to all of them in Bhakti Sangha, Mataji. It's the other way around. It's my pleasure to wake up early and give this lecture. And thanks to Preeti Mataji for always encouraging and supporting me, and no matter what. And I have to, inviting me because this is the second time I'm talking in Bhakti Sangha. I am very obliged, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji, for that beautiful service. Without you, we are nowhere. And thank you so much. I totally agree. All those people that you bring in are really gems to Bhakti Sangha. Dandavat pranams, Mataji. I always love your inspiration. Whenever I hear to a Vaishnava song, I think about you without my conscience. I just think about you, Mataji. I just love the fact that how much love you have for the Vaishnavas is always clearly evident in each call, Mataji. Thank you so much for instilling and inspiring us with the love you have for Vaishnava bhajans and Vaishnavas in general, Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Krishna. Yes. Mataji. No, no. Totally. This is the first time. Hare Krishna, Mataji. No, this is the first time I'm hearing this comment, Mataji, because my house is full of musicians. My son is a Carnatic singer. My husband plays violin, and whenever I sing, no, whenever I sing, I get the comment, "Please stop, please let's listen to a music from iPad or iPhone." This is the first time somebody has told me. I mean, you didn't hear me sing, Mataji. That's why you. I no problem, Mataji. I can sing Vrinda Devi Ashtakam if you want. Maybe how many verses, Mataji? Three verses, if that's okay. Or two verses based on the time, Mataji. Three. गङ्गेय चाम्पेय तदिद्विनिन्दी रोचि प्रवाह स्नपितात्मवृन्दे बन्धूकबन्धु द्युतिदिव्यवासी वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम् बिम्बार्हरोद्वीत्वरमन्द्यहस्य नैषाग्रमुक्ता द्युतिदीप्यतस्ये विचित्ररत्नाभरणाश्रियादे वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम् समस्तवैकुण्ठशिरोमणोश्री नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम् Ribol. Jai. Thank you, Vinita Gandharika Mataji. Hare Krishna. All glories to Guru and Gauranga. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you, Mataji. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for knowing such inspiring devotees like you. I mean, thanks to Bhakti Sangha. I have a big family here. When I initially came to the US, I was heartbroken. I left all my family members, relatives there, and I think after 15 years or 16 years, I've got a big family now, and I'm really thankful for the family I have, who I can always trust and who I can always share and understand and express my opinion and thoughts to them. Really happy about this, Mataji. The whole family that we have, all the speakers, I'm able to identify you by your voice. That's because I'm closely associated with you. Even though we are all virtual, I definitely feel that connection, Mataji. Definitely feel. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. Hari bol, Mataji. Hari bol. So true, Mataji. Mataji, I'm sorry. I don't want to take any more of your time, Mataji. You can go on with Varajamandal Parikrama. I mean, is that okay, Mataji? Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Mataji, one question, Mataji. Can I end the stream now? I can end the stream, the YouTube live, right? End it. Okay, okay.